Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and sorry if I sound a little groggy. I literally just woke up, and happy Independence Day, and the first thing I find out today is that Congressman Justin Amash has made it very public that he's leaving the GOP. Didn't say he's going to any other party or anything like that, just that he's leaving the GOP, that condemning sort of the partisan bickering and tribal warfare that is politics today. And to me, that is a bold move. When you're someone with the kind of public profile Justin Amash, especially after the whole Mueller report controversy and whatnot, where everyone's kind of watching you, the idea that you would go independent on Independence Day is awesome. Just from the kind of political statement that it is, the political jolt that it puts in to people's minds. Now, I know most other people who are libertarian like myself are thinking, oh, is Justin Amash gonna join the Libertarian Party and pursue whatever endeavor he decides to pursue. Now, first off, I don't know what he's thinking of doing. I've never talked to Justin Amash outside of tweeting at him. And I think maybe once over the years he might have liked one of my tweets. I think he does follow me on Twitter. So I have never had a personal relationship with Justin Amash, even though I wouldn't mind having a beer with the guy. So I don't know any kind of whatever. So I'm not commenting on, nor am I speculating on what his plans are. That's not the point. The point is a statement about partisan politics and the polarization that has been created. And it's not really so much the partisanness. The partisanness is what kind of just naturally happens in politics. And this is why, as a libertarian, I'm for limited government, for less government, for basically decentralizing governance as much as possible. Because when you have one institution that makes decisions for everybody, you naturally create large divisions. Okay, when you think about, what's for dinner, you don't have huge people at war with each other because everybody can choose what they want for dinner. Okay, but if one entity chose what was dinner for everybody every night, trust me, we'd start getting into or if we had the vote on what everybody gets to have for dinner every night, trust me, we would all get into kind of groups. We'd all begin arguing with each other and hating each other. You might have like a vegan party. You might have like a meat lovers party, and people would just say negative things against each other because they would want to win what gets eaten for dinner every night. That's the nature of politics. That's the nature of government power, because you're trying to create this central entity that makes decisions for everyone. So, and then kind of add fuel to that fire. You have this sort of first past the post voting system, which means that whoever gets 51% wins. So that means if I'm one of those gangs trying to make a decision for everybody, not only do I want to make a decision for everybody, but I only need 51% of the people to consent to make a decision for 100% of the people. So all I need to do is convince 51% of the people, not necessarily that it's just that I'm right, but that the other 49% of the people are wrong. Okay, and that's generally what these races are, because you're not necessarily always voting on policy, you're voting on candidates. The candidates may represent one or two policies that you agree with, but oftentimes it's a mixed bag. So generally, and then a lot of people, because for other reasons I'll get into in a second, just don't have the time to look into all this information. So what happens? Politics naturally gets negative. It becomes to, basically convincing you that basically becomes a game of fear. How can I convince you that 49% of the population is after you? Or how can I convince 51% of the population that the other 49% is after them? And so basically everyone tries to paint everything as sort of the other group is trying to create the end of the world, trying to dismantle the country. And you know what? When you want to make decisions for everyone, that's inevitably true, but it's not because you're making a particular decision, not because you have a particular value set. It's because everyone is unique, diverse, and you just can't make decisions for everyone. Okay, if things like education, healthcare were like dinner, where people can really, really more freely pursue, what works for them, it'd be more like dinner, where it's not a fight, it's not an argument, it's not a debate. And trust me, we need dinner. Okay, I need to eat dinner. I need to eat food just as much as I need healthcare or education, if not more so. So that's a thing. Now, as far as why people may not be able to look as much into the specific issues that a candidate's running on and end up oftentimes just voting on the message, like, oh, okay, well, that, what they're telling me that the other person's doing is so scary, I should vote for you. Not because I think you're awesome, but because the other people are so scary. What drives that? Well, what happens is that over time, government imposes regulations, government imposes taxation, and that those taxes are there to fund whatever party's dream projects are there. Those projects and then those regulations end up imposing costs. Those taxes end up imposing costs, and that ends up reducing your paycheck because you're paying taxes out of your paycheck. It increases the cost of goods and services because companies have to recoup the costs of the taxes and the regulations. So in that case, if you find yourself having to keep less and less of your paycheck because of taxes and paying more and more for goods and services because of the cost of regulations and taxes that get built in to all the goods and services that you buy, you find that your purchasing power, the amount you get to walk away with, becomes less and less and less, which means then you have to make up for it. So how do you make up for it? You work more. So you find yourself working more hours. More focus, which means you're going to have less time with family, less time with your personal projects, less time in your community. So we wonder why less people are being charitable, because less people have extra money left over because of the smaller paycheck and the higher cost of living. Why are people not volunteering? Because they don't have time, because they're working extra to make up for the lower paycheck and the higher cost of living. Why are families... why are parents being able to spend less time in their children's lives? Because they're getting a smaller paycheck and a higher cost of living doesn't allow them to have the time to spend in their communities, with their families, to donate to charity. Basically, you create the situation where you tear it apart, and this just creates more demand for more taxes and more regulation and more welfare, which then just kind of means more taxes and more regulations, and it just comes this ever-ending spiral where basically people have to work 24/7 and people can't socialize with each other. You end up dividing up society over time, and this is not unique to progressive or conservatives. It's just to anybody who wants to sort of use government to do anything is naturally going to end up having to pay for that, and this creates this spiral. And then when the unintended consequences of whatever those actions are, whether it's starting a war, whether it's cartelizing an industry, or even just nationalizing an industry, you're going to create this spiral of unintended consequences that's just going to kind of continue spiraling downward over generations. It doesn't happen overnight. Okay, oftentimes you'll see the intended results of your policy in the short run. Okay, the unintended consequences is all the political and economic misallocations that occur over the long run, which oftentimes aren't visibly, when you look at it, aren't clear that, hey, X led to Y. It's more going to look like, well, C led to a sequence of events that led to Y. And everyone's going to think that X is the reason why it happened, when really, if C never happened, we would have never gotten to Y. So this is sort of the nature of politics. So again, the nature of the fact that we ask government to make decisions for everybody naturally makes us break up into tribes. The fact that we have passed the post politics makes it where we naturally run on fear, because we just need 51% of the people to make decisions for 100% of the people. So we can condemn, anger, frustrate. If you try to win over 100% of the people, you're not going to passionately get 51% of the people. That's the difference between political decision making and market decision making. In a market, if I'm a cell phone company, if I'm a food company, I want 100% of the market. I want everybody. Okay. Because I'm not making a decision for everybody. I'm trying to convince as many people to include me in their decision making. So I naturally need to unite people to grow my business. Well, in politics, You just need to divide people to grow, because you need to have a 51% that you have locked down. On top of that, because of just the nature of government taxation and regulation, and if we throw in there monetary policy and how monetary policy sort of how that affects costs and capital and all that stuff, the government effects on income and costs ends up squeezing out our lives from our families, our communities, charitable acts. That leads to more irrational voting, because people don't have the time and the resources to be rational voters, especially when they have so many other priorities that become more of a priority when you squeeze them out. And this is the nature of politics today. This is the kind of thing that we need people to abandon the tribal warfare from. Yes, I am the vice chair of the Libertarian Party, which is one of the tribes, but we're the tribe of no tribes. We're the tribe that's saying, hey, that's pointing this out, that's saying, hey, you know what, we're organizing because we don't want the need to organize politically. That's what makes the Libertarian Party different. We're not here to make decisions for everybody. We're the one party that's saying, you know what, we need to stop making decisions for everybody, which makes the Libertarian Party a very, very unique vehicle. We are organized. We are a ragtag bunch. We're working together, not because we want to work together, because we're not looking to make decisions for everybody, but because the only way to make headway in this system of tribal warfare is to have a tribe that's about ending tribes, which sounds ironic sometimes, but that's the nature of the things. But still very exciting when you see someone from within the tribal warfare who sits there and condemns the tribal warfare openly, loudly, and proudly. So I'm very excited about the move that Justin Amash made today. I don't know what his plans are. I wish him the best in whatever plans he has. I'm just glad that he is putting out the message. He is signaling what he's signaling regarding the time to really rethink what politics is, has become, and will be. My name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com. Now, if you found the stuff that I'm talking about today interesting, please do pick up a copy of my new book, The Libertarian Heart, over there at thelibertarianheart.com. A lot of these ideas that I just talked about are explained in more depth in there. Also, if you go to libertarian101.com, I have several videos where I go into depth about this. Thank you guys very much. Have a great day. If you found this message to be interesting, enlightening, please do share it with others, because that's how the message gets out there. We spread it. So have a great day. Enjoy. And my name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com.